When you get a template from us or from anywhere else on the internet, it's going to come in either with or without the bleeds, but it'll always have the contour cuts. So in this file, the gray lines, if we zoom in, are the cut contours or contour cuts. They need to be named a spot color called cut contour. It is a doesn't matter what color it is, as long as the label of the spot color is cut contour with capital C's exactly the way it's spelled. And the printer will ignore that color when printing. And the cutter will follow that color when cutting. So it's important that you have that there. So the second important thing is a bleed. So depending on what kind of cutter you're using, we're using flatbed, so our bleed is 0.050 of an inch. Some roll feds may want as high as a 1/4 inch, generally an eighth, but some may need a 1/4 inch. So you can see the bleed area is just the artwork extending beyond the cut path, so that when there is a misregistration with a cutter, which happens naturally for all cutters, there isn't any white vinyl hanging off top or bottom or left or right. So your artwork will be contained within these bleed objects. So let's go ahead and start designing. Now, before that, if you like to work with layers, then go ahead and take all your contour cuts and move them to a contour cut layer, and your artwork to an artwork layer, whatever is you're more comfortable with. For us, since we don't use Illustrator as our design software, we use Flexi, which does have layers. We typically just work in one layer and move the objects up and down. So it's just easier for us that way. So I'm going to go ahead and design something real quick. I'm just going to use this path pen. For whatever reason, when I do this color selection, it defaults back to white. I don't know why, but when I come back, there it is, it's black. So let me go ahead and draw out an object. I'm going to cross over from the shroud to the number plate. And even though Illustrator is appearing to close this path, please make sure your path is all the way closed by connecting the last node. So I'm going to zoom in and add one more little piece here. This is just a generic kit. Let me add a number plate background. Let's go here to here. Something like this. All right, that looks good enough. In this template, we don't have any contouring like body lines. Often our templates will have some sort of a dashed line to represent where there's a shape of the plate that's important for you know, doing your artwork or missing features. So it doesn't, like the rear fender on a lot of our templates will have dash lines to connect to the side number plates. So in this case, I don't have those, and so design at your own risk. Having this black, let me push this black, group it first. I'll go ahead and group it. I'm going to push it to the back along with the bleeds. So I'm using Control-Shift left bracket. That way we can see the contour cuts. See that area up in here? So if I was going to design a rear fender template or graphic, I would go ahead and just design some sort of a solid black in this area to try and eliminate any weird alignment issues. Something along the lines of this. And then I would do use a ruler here. Go ahead and just align that. So we want that to be here, so we'll align to center. Oh, you silly goose. Illustrator and its alignment is less than to be desired. Let's see, let's get that, and that. Center them all. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and, there's probably a mirroring tool, I'm not aware of it, so I'm just going to duplicate this. And Flexi, there is a mirror tool, it's just one click. So we're going to go to properties, and we'll click on the guide and the two, whoops, and the two objects I just created, and then I'll align it from the center to the right edge, and then I'll just go ahead and do a flip horizontal. Oops, it's got to be select one of those first. Let's try that again. This one, that one, and then right edge, flip horizontal, and then you can just group those together. So now we've got some base artwork, which we call base art. You can call it whatever you want. You got to count how many bleed objects that are commonizing these base artworks. So we've got 2 in this case. Would have been 3 if it was a fender that matched up. So I'll go ahead and duplicate the artwork, the base artwork, and align it. So I'm going to go align left, align top, since Illustrator is horrible at alignment. And then I'm going to duplicate the base art, or the bleed. Do the same thing. I'm going to align them to each other. This will be our mask that I just created. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that to the top. So Control Shift page, Control Shift bracket right, and then holding the Shift key and the bleed object, I'm going to go ahead and Control 7 for mask. Do the same thing to the side number plate, and just be careful not to accidentally grab your contour cut. Now, if you needed to have the holes cut out for whatever reason, say you needed to show for proofing, then you could make a compound of the bleed by doing a offset path that inset, the same amount as your bleed, and then punch through your base or your bleed objects. But I typically don't do that. I don't need to see the white space or the holes. A lot of kits that we get from other people to print, they do that. They have those holes and stuff. To me, it's just more complexity, and oftentimes what happens is that you end up you can't not select like the contour cuts, and because they're all compounded, so you're trying to select the background, and instead you're selecting the contour cuts. It's frustrating. So I just assume, who cares? We're getting throw that all away. It'll print, throw it away. So I don't need to worry about that. If you do, you do you. Anyway, so go ahead and do the same thing for the rear fender. I'm just taking that bleed object, and I'm going to center it back over the fender and bring it to the front. I'm going to group these two pieces, which they already are. Holding the Shift key, select my masking object, and go ahead and hit Control 7 for mask. And then we'll send that to the back and send the bleed to the back. And there you go. So you could also do a Pathfinder. Let me see. Just for fun, I'm going to draw 2 objects. And sorry about that. And what I want to do, I believe, let's see, where's my Pathfinder? There it is. So I think I always have to play with this. It's not weld, it's not intersect. Do we have an actual divide? Would probably be closest. Let's see. Exclude. You kind of want the opposite. Alt click to create compound shape and exclude overlapping. Let's see what happens if we Alt into. Nope. Bear with me. Nope. Nope. I mean, that probably did it. If I ungroup it, let's see. Yeah, that's what we're trying to accomplish, but that's not. Let's see. Let's Control Z. 2 objects. Merge. Nope. 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 All right, never mind. So let me show you something real quick in Flexi. I'll just do control and do the same thing. So using a tool called Fuse, which is this tool, essentially the same thing as the mask. The difference is from the Pathfinder thing is that we can get the information back. It still exists by just clearing the effect, and it comes right back. That was not an undo. That was an actual effect. So, and then we could separate the effect, and then you have basically what Illustrator gives you, if we could get it to do that. So if you know how to do this similar Fuse thing in Illustrator, let me know. I'll add it to my videos. But for right now, it looks like masking is the ideal way of accomplishing the same thing that Flexi does. So then you just group your objects. So you make sure all your contour cuts are to the top. It's not critical if they're not. It won't end anything. It's just for your own safe to make or sanity and safety of design to make sure you have everything. Oops, I just saw something real quick. Oh, I thought I saw the circle over your highlight. I'll have to look back in the video and see if it really was. Maybe it was just a square going out there. Huh. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and group the side number plate together. Oh, it's probably the mouse cursor over. That's probably what happened. Okay. So now, once you're done designing your kit, you're going to want to set it up for print. Now, if you're the people that are going to print for you offer that service of nesting, then let them do it. But if you're going to be a nice guy and you're trying to get your best bang for your buck, or trying to get the best price because you've set this whole job up just to hit print, then you're going to want to do your artboard to their specified sheet size. For our environment, we have flatbed cutters, so we use a sheet size with 30-inch material of 27 inch by 65 inches. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just change this artboard to 65 inches wide by 27 inches tall. And then I'll just move all this out of the way, like so. And then I'm going to duplicate for the instructional part of this. I'm just going to duplicate this over, and we'll duplicate that over. And because we grouped everything, now we can freely rotate the objects to our own desired rotation for nesting. So I'm going to line it to the left, line it to the bottom, and see if we can fit that in here. Doesn't fit, so I'm going to rotate. And oh, what's going on here? Where are you going to? Oh, Illustrator. I don't understand why guides, the guy got grouped with the fender. It's a silly thing. I'll show you here real quick. If I grab a guide and throw it in here, I can select the object and the guide does not come with it. I don't know why you'd want that to go with it. So it's an interesting phenomenon. So back to Illustrator. Okay, so grouping. Now it's been rotated, so I need to reset the rotation. I'm just going to come over here in the properties panel and reset that rotation, and then go ahead and group it together. And then let's try putting this guy over here. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling like this is the better way. Something like this. Maybe. Trying to do this as fast as possible so not to bore you. But anyway, there we go. We're getting close enough. So you can challenge yourself on getting a tighter and tighter nest. Now, for our purposes, we need to have a little bit of a gap between the objects. By a little bit of gap, I mean about a 1/4 inch in all areas. So roughly 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch there. That's about as tight as I want to get them. That's because in our case, our flatbed cutter is not vacuum fed or vacuum held. it's a electrostatic chart hold, so we have to tape down our jobs pretty good. And if they're too close, because the material is so thick, there's a lot of force put into that blade that there's a chance for it to catch and or pull in the weak areas here, the thin areas, and cause the job to have a rud. Yeah, so there you go. So imagine you're going to take all the rest of these pieces and just nest them all. Fun fact, Illustrator does, or not Illustrator, but FlexiSign will do this automatically for you. It does a pretty decent job. It's got a nesting tool. You just select all your objects, you tell it this constraint of the size of the page, you tell the gap that you'd like it to have and the rotational angle, and it will, you just hit the go button and it does a pretty decent job. Very little tune-up that needs to happen afterwards, so something to consider if you're ever looking to do production artwork. While Illustrator is the de facto of design software in this industry, FlexiSign is the absolute workhorse for production artwork. You can take all the steps here that it takes in Illustrator to do and basically cut half to 2/3 of the steps, meaning clicks and interactions with all these panels, and like the alignment thing. My goodness, I just want to center something in FlexiSign, and you want to center this to this. You just go like that. You go boom, boom. There's no the objects didn't go to the middle of the page. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? Not me. Anyway, I've probably complained about this in several videos, but look at the cleanliness. Yeah, it looks like a play toy. The interface, it doesn't have the cool dark theme, but look at this. I mean, every time you touch something, look at the Design Central changes. So I want to make a square. Look at this. I can do it numerically. I could put a radius on it numerically, or I could use the pull handles. I can use these tools right here to change the height and width, and notice how they're not distorting the corners. It's because it's an object. Stars, you want to do star? Change all sorts of elements about this. You want to do, let's see what else you want to do. You want to do gradiated lines. How about this? Design Central updates. You don't have to go to another panel. You say, I want it to be varying stripes. I want it to be, look at this. I want more. No, actually I want it to be a pinwheel or a circle. Look at this. Jeez. Pretty cool. Distort. Want to distort it now? And guess what? These are all effects. So if I was to go to Design Editor here, go to the object, you can see each one of these things has an effect. So I can now go back there, Design Central, so I can stack effects. I can change it back to a gradient, and I still have my distort feature. I also have the rectangle. If I want to change the numeric value of the rectangle, I can just go to the rectangle section, and let's make it 16 now. Let's make it 30. Whoops, not 3. Well, look at that. So cool. So very powerful for designing. So I know that we're showing the Illustrator version of designs, but yeah, you can see the power of this. Oh, you want to see the auto nest? Hold up. Let's see if I still have that Kawasaki here. Yeah. You want to see the power? So let me switch this to our page size, which in Flexi is my default is that, but because I've opened up a PDF, let me just group these together. Let me delete all that. Yes, I didn't show the frame protectors. I'm just grouping all these components together with their contour cut. Okay, that should be it. Now, go to the tool. So I change my width to, now if it goes beyond the 65 inches or whatever it is, it's just going to create, it's just going to continue to go out. So 27 degrees 15. I don't want to break any holes. I don't want to break any text. I don't know why those features even exist. And then hit, oh yeah, 0.3 was 0.2. Hit, oh. And then it just fires away, and boom. So there you go. Pretty darn cool. Like, yeah, that thing's outside. Well, I can probably figure that out by just doing it. It was constrained by a specific 15 degrees of rotation, which I don't know why that's a restraint, but it did an excellent job. I mean, talk about production artwork versus doing this thing here manually. So hope you learned something. If you have any questions, I know this video went a little long, it's a little deep, I stuttered a lot. Go ahead and feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and answer it for you. Toodles.